Ladies and gentlemen, thank you Puan Aliza and Azlina for the introduction earlier. I'm Cheah and I'm with the Iskandar Regional Development Authority. Firstly, let me thank ILCAP for inviting a representative from IRDA to be here today. It is actually an opportunity for us to promote Iskandar Malaysia, which is a mandate given to us by the federal government. So let me just spend the first few minutes of my presentation updating the audience on Iskandar Malaysia, where we are so far, and later I will touch on FTAs, the issues, the impact, and what should we look forward to in the future. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we all know where Iskandar Malaysia is. We are right next to Singapore. We are very close to Singapore, and yes, Dato'. So we are feeling the micro impact of inflationary pressures. We are in size 2,200 square kilometer, 3 times the size of Singapore. And we were born out of a master plan that was approved in cabinet in the year 2006. And it is an economic plan. There are economic targets attached to what we intend to do with this region. So it is planned to be a special economic zone, but the long-term target is to be a metropolis of international standing. Ladies and gentlemen, IRDA was created through an Act of Parliament, Act 664, and in the Act there are 3 key goals given to us to achieve. We are supposed to physically and socially plan for the region. We are also expected to do promotions, and most importantly, last but not least, we are supposed to facilitate investments. So you can see that whatever ongoing discussions in FTAs, the impact of existing FTAs, it will affect Iskandar Malaysia in terms of the investment chapter obligations and principles. So in our effort of facilitating investments, we work closely with MITI, MOF, MIDA and the other regulatory bodies. Let me just highlight that I mentioned earlier the economic targets that we have. We have a target of drawing in 383 billion ringgit of investment by the year 2025. To date, we have attracted 111 billion ringgit of investments. I must recognize that this effort of attracting investments is a collective effort among all government agencies, especially MITI, MIDA, MOF, and also Khazanah. Without all these stakeholders, we wouldn't be able to achieve what we have to date. That's 111 billion. This slide attempts to give you a breakdown of the investment targets year by year since we were formed in 2007, and our target this year is about 20 billion ringgit just for this year. This is a breakdown of investments by sector, and the mandate given to IRDA was really to focus on the services sector. As MIDA, as you know, as an agency that has long existed before IRDA, they have been spearheading attracting investments for the manufacturing side. So together with MIDA, we work closely in attracting these investments, and I would like to highlight that out of the 106 billion ringgit of cumulative investments achieved to date, about 40% are from foreign investors. So whatever FTAs has, of course, impact on how we are going to achieve the 383 billion ringgit target by the year 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, let me move on to the FTA. What we feel FTA will do to us, and let us look at the impact today. In Iskandar Malaysia, from a regional perspective, Firstly, we feel that the current MITI policy of gradual liberalization has benefited us tremendously, especially with regards to the services sector. Over the past 5 years, there have been two major announcements of liberalization of the services sector, and a lot has to do with allowing foreign players to own equity in services operations in Malaysia, from what it used to be like below 50% to now 100% in some of the selected services subsectors. When we first started in 2007, I can give you an example of the sector of private education. At that time, it was not yet fully liberalized. Only last year, it was fully liberalized, and the Economic Council gave its consent that foreign operators can now open up private schools and own 100% of its shares. So way back in 07 and 08, we had the privilege to work with our stakeholders, the regulatory authorities, etc., to selectively allow some of the foreign players, especially the British institutions, to own 100% of what you call the business entities, which eventually are now running their campuses in Iskandar, Malaysia. Some of the players are actually in EduCity, and you can quite well guess who these players are. By doing so, we actually managed to control the influx of foreign players, because when we were first set up in 07 and 08, we had a lot of inquiries from foreign education service providers all over the world. Some from countries that we feel that even their education system, the education standards are far inferior compared to ours. So because of the existing regulatory framework that we have, and the sovereignty of this country that we have, that we did not compromise this position in any of our existing FTAs to date, we could selectively allow these equity conditions to be liberalized on selective players. And when these players have come in, they have actually helped upscale the standards and services offered by our local education service providers. I can tell you for a fact that some of our local school operators, for example, the Nexus Tailors Group, the Sunway Group, in view of the British school that opened its doors in Iskandar, Malaysia, the premium British boarding school, in view of that, they have actually increased their prices, their course fees, and they say that, oh, now I have a new benchmark in this country to look forward to, because the British private school in Malaysia, in terms of fees, it is the highest in the country in terms of private school. So our local players now have an opportunity actually to, of course, number one, upscale the standards of services. Number two, increase the fees. And of course, slowly and surely, we are quite sure that if it is well regulated, but this sector will be a new engine of growth for Malaysia. Just like how we have done when we opened up higher education. Now, moving on, our concerns with regards to FTAs, we are very concerned on obligations of right to entry given to foreign countries, foreign businesses, foreign players. We are also concerned with regards to the existing FTAs in terms of what would be the impact of the principles with regards to MFN, with regards to NT, and the scope and definition of investment, because that has the most impact to Iskandar, Malaysia, and we hope to achieve by the year 2025. We understand that for the developed countries like US, the scope and definition of investment is very, very broad. It covers credit, it covers what you call capital in the share market and things like that. So does it also cover how we, what do you call, package investment incentives to attract foreign investments? That's the question. And also, we are concerned with regards to the right of investor to ISDS in the case of disputes. And if eventually, due to an FTA, Malaysia may be exposed to international arbitration. And also not forgetting the harmonization of rules, standards and regulatory criteria. If we do have to harmonize with other countries, foreign countries, will that compromise our local service providers? Moving on, our concerns with regards to ongoing FTAs. Will investment chapter obligations affect our competitive edge, especially in packaging investment incentives for strategic high impact projects investments? Because in Iskandar Malaysia, together with all our stakeholders, one of the key success factors in bringing in the big names like you would have read in the newspapers, Legoland, the British institutions in EduCity, is the fact that we could work well with all our government counterparts in packaging fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for these investors. And for each of these investors, the package differs according to their needs and demands, and we do not fulfill all their needs and demands, not 100%. The details of which, unfortunately, I cannot divulge here because it is confidential, but it is a mix of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. Also, will investment liberalization and investor protection obligations, competition obligations, result in cannibalization of domestic industries, businesses? What happens to the local players and the local businesses? So that's another concern. Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, we are of the opinion that progressive and systematic in phases, trade and investment liberalization strategies and policies will ensure that Malaysia will remain a magnet for investments, especially now where we are moving on to a knowledge-based economy. We need to target the value-add, high-impact investments. Also, as a note of caution, a leapfrog attempt or a rushed attempt to embrace FTAs will be counterproductive in attracting the right investments and to also sustain investment flows, economic growth and spillover effects to the Malaysian businesses. So my ending is more or less like what Dato' Azlan himself has explained earlier. It is really the how-to part of FTAs. How do we go about doing these FTAs so that on the ground at micro level, the rakyat, the Malaysian businesses feel the positive effects of it, and that the impact of the FTA will eventually lead to economic growth at all sectors of the industries and also the community. Thank you.